Hi guys, hope you're all having a great day. This is a painting I did in Artrage using my own custom brushes, and it's all about texture. I wanted to get all this texture going off that's in this plant pot and the sort of shininess of the strawberries. So let's get right into it. This was a really fun painting to do. The photo, I didn't take this one actually. Special K took this one, and I was in my new studio and she came in and she says, "Look at this, I've just taken this picture of the strawberries, look how cool it looks." I was going, "Oh my god, I need to paint this. Can I paint it? Are you okay with that? Are you cool with it?" And she went, yeah, do it. So loving the new studio. I'm loving the fact that I'm not stuck on my own all day every day and I never see anybody. So really nice chilled out environment, and second painting done in my new studio. Now this one it's done in Artrage again, Artrage 6, and this was, I felt it was all about the textures. I wanted to get these sort of grungy textures on this plant pot, and then all the nice sort of luscious juiciness of the strawberries, trying to capture them. And the brush that really helped me with this task was one of my custom brushes, which you can get free. I'll put a link in the description below. And it is the, I call it the Dirty Turpentine brush. I use that a lot. You can see I sort of painted in the rough colours, and then I use this turpentine brush to sort of put on almost like a splatter spray, really, all of this texture, and you can see that. And I also used the new feature where you can select the brush to be an eraser. So I've used that splatter brush as an eraser. So where you see all that white at the bottom part of the the plant pot, that's been done with the eraser put on that turpentine brush. And then once I got that in, I decided that I was going to paint most of the detail to start with just the regular thick gloss paintbrush that comes with Artrage 6. I didn't use any of my special brushes to start with, and then you can see as I'm painting detail, I want that detail to be blurry, and because if you look at the photo, there's a lot of sort of soft focus in the background. Really nice photo considering it's just taken on an iPhone. So I also made a lot of use of the Harsh Chaos blending brush, or I suppose you'd call it a palette knife. It's in the palette knife category, and I normally use that a lot with watercolor painting, and it's the first time I've used it with the oils. By the way, I'm getting an easel set up, and I'm going to be doing some oil painting with traditional paints. I've dug out some old paints. I've got a canvas ready to go, and I'm thinking I might start looking through all of my digital paintings and then reproduce them as traditional paintings. And I'm gonna I don't want to sort of put everybody off that follows this channel for the digital art. I don't want to get sort of put people off and then them leaving. So I'm going to create a new channel for traditional painting, and so let me know in the description if you think that's a good idea, sort of taking some of my best paintings that I've done digitally and then see if I can reproduce them as an actual traditional painting, and then obviously I'll be able to sell those through my website. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Can't wait. Got to get myself a decent easel yet though. And let me know if you think it's a good idea, because I do. I'm buzzing for it. Really excited. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, back to this painting. The strawberries, I'm using my sort of thick over painting oil brush to get the detail in the strawberries. Then I felt that the leaves needed that as well. So I'm using that same brush, and I still use that harsh Chaos palette knife as well to soften the edges. And then I'm back in with my Dirty Terps brush, putting more texture over the top of that. I have to say, at some point, I do crash and burn a bit and then go over the top with the Dirty Terps brush, and it does start to get to look like Dirty Terps, and all those nice bright colours start to merge into this horrible grey. And it's beginning to happen at the bottom. I just sprayed a bit more bright colour in there, but not just yet. So I was sort of toying with the idea of leaving this as with just the strawberries in sharp focus and a couple of the leaves, which you can see I'm doing now, and I'm adding just sort of tiny little bits of highlights, and then I get it signed. And that was stage one of the painting, where I thought, that's it, that's finished, I've done. And then I showed one or two people, and Charlotte, my daughter, says, "Oh, that's a nice abstract, Dad." And I thought, oh, that's not really what I was going for. I didn't want an abstract. So I thought, I want to get more detail in this. So I decided to sit down back at it. And I was using my sort of thick oil over painting brush, and also the Scumble brush as well, to start putting a lot more detail into this. And I wanted to get that curve on the plant pot. You can see this is a strawberry pot where it's got a section that sort of sticks out, and I wanted to get that in. I still wanted to retain lots of the texture with this Dirty Terps brush, but I also wanted to add a lot more detail. So it was a sort of a real experiment, sort of taking it to a new level really with this Artrage, where usually I would use like the Dirty Terps brush and get an effect and then leave it. And I've not sort of gone before where I've sort of gone back in, over painted that, then created another layer, and then put the Dirty Terps back on it again, and then painted into it. So it's a continuation of sort of creating layers, merging them down all the time, because I do like the way that the paint sort of smudges into itself. And you can see I'm using the thick brush there to get the kind of shape of the strawberries, the sort of texture that's going off on there. So the thick paintbrush for the strawberry texture, and the Terps brush for the texture on the plant pot. Then I thought it might be a nice idea just to make the strawberries a little bit bigger. You can see I'm sort of using the thick oil paint to add more texture. Then I'm using the Terps to overspray it. At this point, I thought, let's get that little leaf in the foreground. I think we could do that. And you can see how the Dirty Terps is getting really dirty at the bottom. Using almost greys to paint in those leaves. You can say, oh, look at that. It really is looking grungy now. But again, I lifted up by start painting some bright colours into there. I did struggle with this area a little bit, but I started to use the thick oil paint to add some sparkle back in there and get rid of some of that grunge, and paint the texture of the path, I guess. I decided I wasn't happy with the shape of the pot. That needed just tweaking a little bit. So this is all painted after I thought I'd finished, and I spent just as long again changing the painting to what I spent on the original. So it took me twice as long, but for me, I think it was worth it. I'd like to know what you guys think. Did you like it when it was more abstract, or when I sort of went in and put more detail in? You see I'm adding a little bit more colour in there. I put a light area in, and also I definitely feel that this one of my secrets now is to create a layer and make it a multiply layer to add shadows, because even though I've got lots of texture on this painting now, I'm still feeling that it needs some depth and some form and shape. So I go in and it looks like quite drastic. I'm adding lots of shadows, and I use that harsh chaos brush to soften off edges and blend everything away so it all looks nice and not sort of really rough and edges overlapping and so on. And I think that just makes it pop and gives it the 3-dimension look that I want. So I've got the texture and everything going off in there. So that is it. So that's it. That's my painting of strawberries in Artrage 6, trying to get in lots of texture on the strawberries in the plant pot. Hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, big thumbs up as always, much appreciated. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, because I have lots of videos like this and I would love to be sharing them with you. So hopefully I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.